Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by Legacy FC Bantamweight champion Steven Peterson. Steven, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, guys.
Steven, the name of the game is really random. That's where I ask you a random question and you give me the real answer. Some of these questions are custom made just for you, and some of these questions are generic ones that I ask all the people I interview. So, here's the first question. Superpower you'd love to have?
Fly.
Favorite movie?
Spider-Man.
Movie you've seen the most times?
Fast and Furious.
Favorite color?
Red.
Favorite guilty pleasure?
Singing in the car.
Steven, you claimed the Legacy FC Bantamweight belt back on June 24th at Legacy FC 56 when you defeated Manny Vasquez by fourth round submission due to a rear naked choke. Overall, how pleased were you with your performance in the fight?
Very pleased. I felt like I did really well. Obviously, there was things I could have done better, but I got the job done.
What was the game plan going into the fight, and how well did you execute it?
The game plan was exactly what you saw. Executed it really well. There was a couple times where I should have done better. Should have moved my head a little bit. Should have fainted a little bit. But other than that, it worked really well.
How many times have you gone back and watched the fight?
About 4 or 5 times. But I can't sit here and admire my work. I have to use it to get better and move forward. So that's what I need to do.
A couple times during the fight, you threatened with some submission attempts before ultimately you locked up the final submission that won you the fight. But there were a couple submission attempts that you had, some guillotines here and there, and a rear naked choke or one or two. How many of those were serious submission attempts? How many of those did you think were really tight, and how many did you think had him in trouble?
At least 3 of them were really tight, and they definitely had him in trouble. The way I think of it is they took a little bit of health off of his meter, a little bit of endurance away from him. Each one broke him down just a little bit.
In between rounds 3 and 4, did you say to yourself, okay, in round 4, I'm going to submit him with a rear naked choke? Because in round 3, you had him in a ton of trouble. You took his back. You were really dominating in that position. Did you say to yourself that you were going to get that stoppage in the 4th round?
Yes. The doctor actually told me that I needed to finish the fight that round, or he was thinking about stopping it because of the cut. So I knew I couldn't get punched anymore, and that I wanted to take it to the ground and take it exactly where I was when I left the third round.
Talk me through the finish, because you were choking him, and the referee, I guess he could have stepped in way sooner than he did and stopped it because you choked Manny Vasquez unconscious. Talk me through the finish there. Did you think that you were going to get him to tap, or did you know that you were going to have to choke him out?
I was pretty confident he wasn't going to tap, but he wasn't doing much. Once the choke was actually sunk in, he wasn't doing much to try and defend it properly. I think he had accepted the fact that he was going to get choked out, and he was willing to go to sleep. As for the refs, it's kind of hard when you're in his position because it's a 4-round or 5-round war, and we were in the 4th round, and he didn't want to step in unless Manny had tapped or he was truly unconscious, and Manny was fighting it for a little while, and the refs didn't have the best view as well. Like the Access TV view, the replay shows outside of the cage, like looking in at him, and the ref has the opposite point of view. He's looking at our backs pretty much. Mm-hmm. So kind of hard to say whether or not he should have stopped it a little bit earlier.
Did you feel Manny go out?
No, I didn't. I felt him tense up, and I wasn't sure because I was watching his hand move. I wasn't sure if he was out or if he was just that was his way of fighting it. I wasn't sure. I was kind of in the moment.
Yeah, it was a very strange situation because I'd never seen anything like that before. Usually when someone gets choked unconscious, their arms just immediately drop, and that's the end of it. And his hands, for whatever reason, stayed up. So I was like, this might be a just stoppage. Like, maybe that was the right thing to do. So I don't know.
Right, I agree.
How good does it feel to have the Legacy belt? Because at one point in time, you were on a 2-fight losing streak, and it was doubtful that you'd ever even fight for the belt. So now how does it feel to be the champion?
It feels amazing. It's a monument to show for all the hard work that I've done and show it's paying off. It's I'm getting noticed, and it's time I finally make some money in the sport and hopefully move on to the next level.
Currently, you're on a 6-fight win streak with 4 stoppages. You just won the Legacy FC Bantamweight belt. So you're doing very good right now. You're looking better than ever. Manny Vasquez, your opponent for Legacy FC 56, the man you took the title from, a lot of people were saying if he was able to get by you, that he should get signed by the UFC. Now that you've beaten him, and considering what you've done as of late, do you think you've done enough to get that call from the UFC?
So if you're asking me, I should be the guy. I mean, if they want somebody who's going to step up and put on a show every time, who's not afraid to get hit or stand in the pocket and bang, like I'm the guy for the job. So I'm surprised I haven't got the call yet. I'm on a 6-fight win streak, and now I got the belt to show for it. So we'll see. I mean, if not, then I'll defend the belt or continue fighting for Legacy. I fight at 145 as well, so I'll just bounce around and wait until I get that call.
How's your eye?
My eye's fine. The cut was pretty long, and it was a pre-existing injury that I thought might pop back open in the fight. It had come open a couple weeks before in training, and in the second round it popped open pretty easily, and it kind of it went from a cut to started tearing a little bit, and but I was able to keep it from getting too bad, and the doctor stitched me up pretty well. So a total of 3. One of them was below the eye. It was about 3 stitches. And one of them was right below the actual big cut, and that one was about 3 stitches as well. And the big cut took all the rest. With a little bit of time off, it shouldn't be an issue later on in my career.
How's your body feeling in general? Not just from the fight, but recently you were in a car accident. So how's your body feeling?
It's been better. Like I said, I could use some time off, but I'm trying to stay active and stay in shape, but at the same time let my body recover. And going into that fight, I had some injuries from just training, and my career basically I haven't ever had much time off, so all that stuff adds up. So yeah, my body could be better, and I just need to rest a little bit.
You just got back from vacation. How was Florida?
It was nice. It was really laid back, and just didn't have to worry about being anywhere at any certain time. Not have to deal with my phone and all that. Just left it in the hotel room most of the time, and just focused on enjoying myself.
Do you go on vacation after all your fights just to unwind and relax after going through a training camp and having a fight and all that stuff? Or was this a special occasion because you won a title?
This was actually the first time I went on vacation in my adult life. For that, I was never financially able to, or felt like I had accomplished enough to be able to do that. So at this point, I knew I was going to win the fight, but I had planned on going on vacation before the actual fight. I knew I needed time off and just to get my mind right after the fight.
Are you a full-time fighter, or do you work a second job?
I would call myself a full-time fighter. I also teach on the side, but I definitely train 2-3 times more than I actually teach. That's just a way to help make ends meet and a way for me to network and stay relevant in the community.
Hobbies outside of fighting?
Oh, man, not much. Hanging out with my son, taking him to the pool or to the park. That's really about it. He takes up all the rest of the time.
Do you have any pre-fight rituals or superstitions?
Oh, I don't know if it would be a ritual, but I go kind of like don't shave or cut my hair for about a month from the fight, and just don't really dress up, or I just go caveman style, and so I don't care about how I look until the night before weigh-ins, before I get ready.
Do you have any post-fight rituals?
Post-fight ritual would be a feast at Hutchins Barbecue. They take care of me and my friends, so take a big group and we go over there and feast.
Besides fighting, what are you passionate about?
Being a father. Just, taking care of my son and showing him what life's all about.
Celebrity people say you look like?
I've heard Brad Pitt.
If you could stay one age forever, how old would you stay and why?
26 right now. This is the height of my career so far, and I feel like my body's healthy enough, and right around this time is the best.
If you could trade places with anyone in the world for a week, who would you trade places with and why?
I wouldn't trade places. I wouldn't trade my life for nobody's.
Favorite food?
Nice fat cheeseburger.
Least favorite food?
Lasagna.
Favorite restaurant?
Kelly's, the sports bar.
Favorite band and or solo artist?
5 Finger Death Punch.
Favorite TV show, and it can be a show currently on the air or a show no longer on the air. Just overall, favorite TV show.
The Simpsons.
Go-to song when you're singing in the shower.
Many Men.
If you weren't a pro fighter, what would your job be?
We'll just say some kind of race car driver.
How did you get the nickname Ocho?
I was number 8 on the football team in high school, and I was the new kid, so some kids were picking on me, calling me Ocho, and I got in a fight, and the name just stuck and spread around the school from there.
You've got a lot of tattoos. How many tattoos do you have, and what are some of the meanings behind these tattoos?
I wouldn't count my tattoos in numbers. It's kind of one big piece.
Sure.
I'd say I have about 30 hours under me. And basically, my left sleeve is my story in one picture. It shows my past. And then the S on my chest stands for strength and hope. And then the 8 on my back is for Ocho. I have knives at my back. Just represents what people have done to me in my life, and my right arm is going to be the future. That's what I have in mind.
What would you rather be? Would you rather be the best fighter in the world, or would you rather be the highest paid fighter in the world? What means more to you, glory or wealth?
That's a hard question. All the glory goes to God, so it's not about the glory. It's not about the wealth, but it is about money because, I'm in this sport. I fight for money. That's how I make a living. So I would probably err on the side of best paid because, financially that'll set me and my son up for success in the future. The best fighter isn't necessarily getting paid very well. They aren't necessarily even in the UFC, so who knows how much the best fighter in the world could get paid, but the highest paid fighter is definitely well off for the rest of their life.
What's the best thing that ever happened to you?
The birth of my son. It changed my life. It changed my career path and life path, and made me straighten up and focus on somebody else and put somebody else first, rather than make stupid, selfish decisions.
What's the worst thing that ever happened to you?
My divorce. When my wife left me, I was on that 2-fight lose streak, and that really brought me down to rock bottom, but it set me up for where I am now.
Time period you'd like to go back and visit, and why?
Probably, early 1940s, probably, when my dad was a kid, just to see what he was like.
What's your pet peeve?
Negativity, just negative outlook.
Let's say you found a magic lamp, and you rubbed that magic lamp, and a genie appeared, and the genie said he was going to grant you 3 wishes. What would those 3 wishes be?
To be wealthy, leave behind something for people to remember me by, in a good light, and then for my son to be successful and be a good person.
What do you worry about? What's something that keeps you up at night?
I'd say the only thing I really worry about is just my son in this crazy world, just his future in this crazy world.
Best advice you were ever given through life, and best advice you were ever given through fighting, and who gave it to you?
Life would be work hard and be accountable, and that would be my dad. And best advice for fighting would be, I've been given a lot of advice, but the only advice that's really, worked every time is Coach Safe's. I guess the advice would be more along the lines of game planning.
If you could go on a $1 million shopping spree at any store, what store would you go on that $1 million shopping spree at?
The Ferrari dealership.
Person you look up to the most?
My dad.
Some people are afraid of spiders, some people are afraid of heights, some people are afraid of the dark. What are you afraid of?
None of the above. I'm afraid of failure.
What's your hidden talent?
I don't know if it's very hidden, but I guess it's hidden. I'm extremely smart, and not everybody knows that. They think I'm just quiet and shy, but I'm extremely smart and observant.
Number one thing on your bucket list?
Probably flying a wingsuit.
When would you like to fight again?
Definitely by the end of the year. I'm eyeing October time frame.
Mm-hmm. You're averaging about 2 fights a year since 2013. That's usually the amount of fights that you get in a year. Is that a good amount of fights for you? Because I know a lot of guys would say, yeah, I'd like to fight every month if I could, but as you get to a high level like you're getting to or at right now, you can't be fighting all that time, because right now you're the champion, they need to build up contenders, and it's a lot more business than fighting. So what's a good amount of fights for you in a year?
And 2 big fights is perfect. At the beginning of my career, I was trying to get them all in my first 3 months of being a pro. I had 3 pro fights. I went 2-1. And then after that, I believe I averaged about 3 a year until I went to Octagon. Now I average 2 a year. And but I average 100% win percentage. So if I have 2 fights a year that I win, rather than 3 fights a year and I win 2 of them, I'm extremely happy with that. And it seems I perform better when I take a little bit of time in between fights. I'm experienced. I'm well experienced, and right now it's just about balancing my recovery with my training.
If you had to put money on it right now, what would you say would be your next fight? Your UFC debut or a Legacy FC title defense?
If I had to put money on it, I would say that the UFC debut would be my next fight. I feel like there's no reason not to. It's a smart financial decision for them to pick me up, especially if they're coming anywhere near Dallas. I mean, I sold $16,000 in tickets to this fight by hand. So just imagine if the UFC starts actually promoting me.
If you could change one thing about the world, what would you change and why?
I would get rid of this whole war idea. I think the two leaders of each country should settle it out on their own if there's a discrepancy, rather than using the population to destroy each other.
Last question, Steven. Let's say you were on death row and about to be executed. What would your last meal be? And I need an entree, a dessert, and a beverage. What would your last meal be?
Let's see. I would get a fat rack of baby back ribs, a Blue Moon, and some cookie dough ice cream for dessert.
Steven, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you'd like to thank, and is there anything you want to say to the fans?
I'd like to thank Hutchins Barbecue, Allstate, ProSource Insurance, let's see, Knuckle Up Tattoo, Title Boxing, Precision Windows. I want to thank all my teammates and coaches for helping me up to this point, and then all my fans for supporting me and sticking with me through the thick and thin.
Steven, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for doing the interview, brother.